Hello, my name is Bridget, and welcome to Mind Over Mess. Today, I just wanted to do a little bit of a ramble, something that I was just thinking of while I was walking, and I think my plan is I don't really want to come up with scripts for videos. I know some people might prefer that, but I think my intention with this channel is to be as authentic as I can while still keeping my thoughts relatively organized, right? Like I'm going to edit videos, but I want what I say to feel as true to my thoughts as I possibly can and make sure that I'm being intentional, as well as, of course, sometimes the first thing that comes out of your head isn't always the best. Gotta reverse it, flip it, whatever the song is, and rethink your thoughts, right? So, that happens. But yeah, that's just what I'm feeling right now. The other thing is I am unfortunately sick. If you can't tell from my voice, I don't know what's going on. I was fine yesterday. I went out for sushi. I was fine. And then it was after sushi, I kept coughing. I felt like something was in my throat. And this morning I've woken up and my nose is running. My throat is very tight. And not feeling the best. So we're going to see what happens. I'm wrapping up courses and classes. And this is not going to be helpful in the slightest, but we shall see. So today's topic is volunteering and my experience with it, and how you get what you put in. And in my experience, as much as I'm you're helping and putting in a positive, I find I have also gotten positives back from volunteering, kind of personal growth, that kind of vibe, things like that I want to just go over, talk about my experience and why I'd encourage anyone to try it out and do it. So I want to give a little bit of, maybe not necessarily backstory, but context as to how I ended up where I am now with where I'm volunteering, and kind of why I like this place in particular. So it's a thrift store that is located in the community where I spent most of my life, where I grew up. It's sort of, it's local, and I find some people don't really know about it, and I have to tell them where it is. And I wish more people knew, because all proceeds that are bought at this thrift store, we get donations. They all go directly into the community's food bank and support the food bank. So that's very cool. I appreciate that it feels very transparent in where your money is going. Some people might care about that. When they're going to thrift stores or donating, they want to know where their things are going, instead of maybe it feels like you're giving things into a void or a black box. So that's why I really like this place in particular, but it also is because I found my own sort of passion for thrifting, and I thought it would be really cool to dedicate some of my own time in a space that I feel very passionate about. But it wasn't always that way. It's so interesting. I remember, particularly in junior high, when everyone is very insecure and trying to find their style, find their identity, who they want to be. And that's also on the lower age of that, even very well into high school. I found that I was still sort of going through that, but I find we really navigate towards materialistic things, whatever was trending on social media at the time. And, a level of coolness was sort of defined by, what brands were you wearing? All of that stuff, that really mattered a lot in junior high in particular, I can remember. living about 30 minutes outside the city, there were never any big malls, retail stores, anything like that. So there was always this desire to come into the city. This is where we wanted to be. You know, I wish I lived in the city, all this stuff. I'm not even saying living in the city is bum. I'm living in the city right now and it's fantastic. But at that time, there was definitely this disdain and sort of not appreciating where I was at the time, where there were, you know, less big corporations, malls, stores, things like that, but there were a lot of really nice, you know, that I now realize, local stores and things that I honestly feel better supporting now, which is what I was going to get to, is that sort of around high school, there seemed to be this transition from brands and materialistic things still kind of mattered, but not to the same extent. And I found that around this time, people, you know, we're all getting our driver's license and we have time when we're not in classes, but we're still kind of far from the city. So you start to explore your own area more. And now this was also like getting a driver's license was a key thing because the area was not super navigable. I mean, walkable. If that's a word, unless you had a car, had your driver's license. Like where I lived, to get to the nearest grocery store would be like a 50-minute walk somehow. At least as a kid it was about 5 kilometers, but it felt like a hike at the time. So being able to then finally in high school begin to explore my own community and really see its beauty and what it had to offer was really cool. So there was sort of then this transition where brands and things still mattered, but I found within my friend groups and people that I knew and what I was seeing, thrifting in general really gained popularity, I think, in the past few years. But I noticed around school and stuff, people were starting to experiment with style more. Again, finding your style, which mine is still always evolving and changing. But yeah, around that time I can remember people exploring local stores more and hearing a lot more about things in my community in high school. And so that sort of sentiment and wanting to explore more of my own community kind of continued into my early adulthood, into university, where I am now, where I almost exclusively thrift now, unless there's something very, very particular that I really need and really looking for. That's just something that I'm passionate about. Like, I find beautiful clothes for an eighth of the price that they might be otherwise, things like that. And I am in no way a saint or perfect either. I'm gonna make that very clear. But yeah, that sentiment sort of carried over. And I also found as I got older, I had this longing to give back, but because I acknowledged the position of privilege that I was sort of in, how I was raised and how I grew up, I knew I had so much time, and I know I can dedicate some of that time to doing something for my community, for other people, and that's just something that I had a desire to do. I also had that influence from my family that relatives also did the same thing, volunteered, did community activities, so it was just something that I was inspired to sort of take on. This thrift store in my community, I do a shift once a month on a Saturday. When I wasn't in school, I was doing more Saturdays. I don't really mind giving up my Saturdays because I'm not a super big social butterfly anyways, and their hours are decent where I still get my mornings and my evenings, so I don't miss out on too much. It just gives me something to do, and I really like it. And definitely it holds a special place in my heart for being in my local community. It's a bit more of a commute right now, because now I'm in the city and I'm farther away, and when I was there I was super convenient and close, but obviously I don't want to give it up because I love it so much. The activities I would do is sorting clothes, processing payments from people who come in to buy stuff, sorting, organizing things. It's very repetitive, which was also a really nice task to do, something that's easy and honestly really calming and relaxing for myself, I found. But I also have found that I have received so many positives back from that experience. I've always had social anxiety that was pretty bad. Could have been worse, but I definitely have to take time to regulate, get used to people, things like that. And I was scared shitless to think about having to talk to strangers who come in, managing their payments. Like, what if something goes wrong? What if our debit machine stops working? Like, all of these really terrifying things and interactions that I was so nervous about having. And this place was such a safe environment. All the other volunteers and people who are there are fantastic and amazing people that I actually look up to in a lot of ways, that I was never really afraid of making a mistake, and now it's become so routine for me. It's allowed me to break out of my shell. I've met new people, and I'm not as afraid to not necessarily, I don't want to say confront strangers, but have these sort of casual interactions with other people. And that is all thanks to this volunteering time that I am putting in, and I don't think I would have ever had that otherwise. Maybe eventually in some way, but I think it's allowed me to have some personal growth in that domain. I didn't have a very good high school experience, and I never felt very connected. It's something I still struggle with. This experience in volunteering has allowed me to feel like I am part of something, in particular part of something that is in my community where I spent a lot of my life, and I'm just really grateful. So I think that's it. That's about everything I had to say. I look forward to hopefully spending many, many other Saturdays sorting clothes there. I am so baffled at how much it has impacted me, all because I sent one email to the coordinator at the time saying, hey, I'm really passionate about thrifting and I'd be super interested in picking up some volunteering shifts if you're in need of people. And they were just like, yeah, come on in. We actually have other people that are doing an orientation. It was, I think, happening that weekend, but it ended up getting pushed a little bit for other circumstances. And they were just like, come on in. Let's do this. And it's probably one of the best decisions I have ever made. Now, of course, a disclaimer. Not everyone has that kind of time. Of course. So don't feel bad if you're not in a place where you can't contribute. I think we all find our own ways to do things, and I think that's the beautiful thing about it, is we all find our passions, and this happens to be one of mine. Could be yours too, I don't know. I think that's it. I'm beyond grateful. And I just wanted to get that out there because I think the way we live now, everything, corporate world, grind culture, it's just important to take a minute to think about how we spend our time, what we do with our time, and the kind of impact that you want to be on the world. That's everything. Have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your day. I don't really know how to do an outro. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this ramble, consider subscribing. And that's it. I'll see you later.